This is the BGG Climbers for the week ending 12/09/2020. This list is put together by Michael Alexander every week, and I'll include a link in the description to the Geeklist if you want to subscribe to it. Also, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. And let's get into it. So, there aren't any real notable followers except for the stuff that Gloomhaven Jaws the Lion is knocking down. And the only one sub 11 that looked real interesting is kind of one we've been watching for the last few weeks. It's Viscounts of the West Kingdom. This guy is really climbing up fast. So it's already at 775 for the rank, and it's been getting really solid ratings. So, I mean, I think we're likely going to see top 100 stuff here. We'll have to see. But these ratings just continually get better. So it could be people adjusting the ratings. It could be, new ratings. But since this is a retail release, there's going to be a lot of copies out there. It's a West Kingdom game. There's going to be a lot of people buying it. So I think we'll probably see this hit the top 100 at least. So let's move on to number 10. Altar Quest. So I'm not going to dig into this one too much since we've looked at it a few weeks. It's actually getting a quite strong ratings for a miniatures game. We'll have to see how it keeps doing. I'm kind of interested. And I don't know if it's going to have a retail release or not. We'll have to see. So that's number 10, Altar Quest. Number 9, Food Chain Island. Instead of Food Chain Magnate, this is Food Chain Island. So let's take a look at this. I don't think this has been on the list before. So we're supposed to influence wildlife and arrange their meals. There's only one animal left. One player game. Interesting. Scott Alms. So he's the designer of things like all the Tiny Epic games, I believe. And he finally made a solo game, which is kind of taking off. I mean, I guess solo games, especially in the pandemic here, have probably really flourished. Interesting to see this. I mean, it definitely looks like it could have been a print and play, or maybe is a print and play. Actually, it looks like a print and play. Let's see. Crowdfunding, now it's Kickstarter game. So it'll be interesting to see this one. I don't think this has got any high rankings available for it. It's not starting off very strong. It's a lightweight game, and it's solo only, which of the top games, I think Nemo's War is the top solo game. So basically solo only. I mean, I know there's multiplayer mode, but it's a pretty much solo game. So this is number 9, Food Chain Island. Probably the only week we're going to see this. We'll have to see. Number 8, Pandemic Legacy Season 0. So I have my copy coming of this. I'm probably not going to be able to play it for a little while because of the pandemic. Hopefully next year sometime. But I'm really looking forward to it. It'll probably be the next Legacy game I get to the table. Just because I really want to try out the different mechanics. And I want to try out the theme that, the spy theme that this has to offer. I don't expect, super in-depth gameplay, maybe more so than Pandemic Legacy Season 1, but I'm hoping for a better story and some unique mechanisms that it should bring to the table. I do think this has the chance of it looks way better than even Pandemic Legacy Season 1. I think it has a chance of displacing Pandemic Legacy Season 1 as the top pandemic game, but we'll have to see. So, I mean, this is almost guaranteed to hit top 100. I mean, pretty much guaranteed, and likely to hit top 50, probably top 25, maybe even top 10. That is number 8, Pandemic Legacy Season 0. Number 7, so Under Falling Skies. This is another solo game. Now, this is an adaptation of the Roll and Write game. This is now published by CGE. This has gotten a lot of buzz. I think not just from Shut Up and Sit Down, but from other people. It's definitely a good-looking solo game. It's got different colored dice that look good. They're not, super high-quality dice, but again, it's a low price point, and it's a solo game that has these little ship miniatures. Essentially, in this game, you are going to be preventing aliens from destroying probably Earth or your city, like Space Invaders style. And this mothership's going to move down the board, and if any of the things get past, it destroys stuff. If the mothership gets to the bottom, I think, or past a certain point, you lose. And it's got some really cool mechanisms where you have to put dice in each row. You can build things. I think it's probably a maybe almost ideal solo game because it's got different scenarios to play through, different difficulties. It's not expensive, I don't think, and it looks really good. So I think we'll be seeing this one more. Again, as I mentioned before, solo games kind of have probably a ceiling that they can get to because they're not for everyone, for sure. And I think a lot of people that play solo games may play computer games or console games instead because there's a AI or opponent that takes less work to do. But there are a definite. This probably isn't the real price for it. There's definite followers of solo games, and there's definite followers of this game because it was a print and play, and people really like that. So I don't think. Let's just take a look at these ratings. Yeah, so it's probably averaging an 8, or median is maybe a little bit lower than an 8. It's probably not going to hit the top 100, almost certainly. It'll probably be top 500, though, if it sells enough copies. So that is number 7, Under Falling Skies. Number 6, Hallertau. So this is Uwe Rosenberg's latest heavy game. Again, published by Lookout Spiel. I think, again, you're growing stuff. This time you're growing hops, improving workshops, and raise wealth. So you're like a hop growing town. It's got a lot of wooden pieces, as you would expect from a Uwe Rosenberg game. It's got squares to build stuff in, as you would expect from an Uwe Rosenberg game. And it's got cards, which I assume do things as you would expect from Uwe Rosenberg. These things look really good. I like the fish, especially. The little sheep, really cool looking. And I think its theme is unique. I just don't know if it's going to be able to surpass the amazingness that are Caverna or Patchwork or Feast of Odin, Feast for Odin. So, but since it's a Rosenberg game, it's going to get people buying it. It's going to get people playing it, and I think we'll see it on this list again. We'll have to see how it does. So that is number 6, Hallertau. Number 5, Rajas of the Ganges Dice Charmer. So this game is the dice version of the Rajas of the Ganges game. Now, I haven't played it. It looks cool, but the reviews I've seen say that this is probably better to just play the board game, and this might get people more interested in the board game, which we might see climb some of the ratings on this. So I don't think we'll be seeing this too much. Roll and Writes, while popular, and this one looks good. The dice are custom dice. Just don't fly up the charts that much. And I think it's, at least from my understanding, it doesn't bring anything like super exciting to the table. And again, people say, since it is kind of a little bit heavier roll and write, not super heavy, but medium, people are probably more interested in just going and playing the board game. And the board game doesn't play that long to begin with. So I think we'll see. I don't know if we'll see this on the list again. We might, depending on how many people will buy it for Christmas, but I don't see this hitting the top 100 for sure. Probably top 500 game at best, if it gets a lot of sales. That's number 5, Rajas of the Ganges. Number 4, Lost Ruins of Arnock. So I haven't published my playthrough of this. I did get a chance to play it. And I think this has some possibility, although I don't think it's a better game than, say, Clank. I think it's kind of similar type feel, but I don't think it's taking the uh I mean, I guess this year's like there's 3 big deck building worker placement games out there. It's a fine game. I think it's okay, maybe good, but I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's going to have staying power. That's just my gut feeling on it. It does look really good. The artwork looks good. Cards look really good. There's some good ideas in it. These pieces look amazing. I don't know if it's like a deluxe version or custom pieces. I think it might be. But I mean, I would say it was a yeah. It's not custom pieces. It's just the normal version. The pieces in there look really good. I just don't think that this is going to be a top 100 game most likely. We'll have to see. I mean, deck building is a fun mechanism. Worker placement's a fun mechanism. Combined, maybe it's good. But I think that if I was to sit down and play a game that's a deck building game today, I would probably play like Spirit Island cooperatively or Aeon's End cooperatively, or I would play maybe Clank or Clank Legacy or some Clank version. So that is Lost Ruins Arnock, number 4. Number 3, Fossilus. So this one was on there last time. It's on here again, so people must be getting their Kickstarter copies. One thing so I'm not going to go into this game in too much detail, but it's a fossil hunting game that's fairly lightweight, that looks really good. I mean, it's got these cool blocks, and you dig for fossils, and I think you even like get to take these little bones out of the compartments. This could be a really fun game to play with your family. And look at this. I mean, it even has these little plastic fossil pieces. It has some cool workers. And I think, yeah, so these are the final version, I think, of the tiles, which they got rid of the stickers, which is a smart idea on their part. And I think that the artwork looks good. I think this is a solid family game. I don't think it's going to be top 100, but I do think people, once they're able to buy it, it's still pre-order, it looks like. I think there's going to be some people that like this game, especially with the fact that it looks like something you could play, with your 8 or 10-year-old, and it's going to be interesting for them, especially if they like dinosaurs. So that is Fossilus. That is number 3. Number 2, Beyond the Sun. So this one is a game I think that's going to do well. You're building a tech tree to fuel the colonization of space. It just is a game about building your tech tree. And it really takes that aspect of civilization that people love. Building this tech tree out, upgrading stuff, doing some colonization in kind of an abstract way. But the game looks pretty good. I don't think it looks amazing, but it looks good with the dice and the little pieces here. And the colors look good. The cards look pretty decent, but I think the gameplay is the most fun. Now, I haven't had a chance to play it, but all the reviews seem to indicate the gameplay here is pretty amazing. And it's a solid complexity rating, which means it has a chance of moving up fairly high. The MSRP is a little high on this, $75. It's kind of on the upper end. It is a bigger box game, but we'll have to see. I'm going to give this a good chance of getting into the top 100, but we'll have to see more weeks of how it's climbing. So that is number 2, Beyond the Sun. And number 1, Escape the Dark Sector. So this is interesting. I may have seen this weeks ago on the list, but this week it's got a lot of ratings, so it moved up a lot. And this one is getting really solid reviews. So what is this game about? Future is dark, your chances are slim in this deep space adventure. 20 to 60 minutes, pretty lightweight. No two games are ever the same. Cooperative game, that's interesting. Kickstarter, it's going to be available. Well, either that or people are selling their Kickstarter versions. And so I would say it's a role-playing science fiction horror game based on what this thing's saying. It's kind of cool. They have these like character sheets. Game of Deep Space Adventure. Some cool dice. A lot of text. So this has like an RPG feel to it. Interesting medical records. So you're in the brig. Now you face danger at every turn. Desperate mission to escape. This is a game of deep space adventure. Charge your weapons. Find your ship. Interesting. It's got some cool feel to it. Not a huge box, it doesn't look like. We'll have to see. I mean, I think this has some potential in it if it comes out for retail release or does a second Kickstarter. It doesn't look super fancy, but I think there's a lot of audience for these role-playing adventure games that, you know, give you some mechanisms to play some adventure that doesn't take too long. We'll have to see. We'll have to keep our eye on this one and see what happens. So I think that is the last one for this week. Number 1, Escape the Dark Sector. Again, if you like this video, please like and please subscribe. And I'll keep doing these every week as long as people are interested. Thank you.